Hello, Simplifiers. How are you doing? Diana with Dinah Simplifies here. I think I have too many clothes on. It's kind of warm in here. I didn't expect it to be this warm. Anyway, sunny day. Hallelujah. I think we've had 3 sunny days in a row. We might have had 4. I wasn't expecting this many sunny days because the forecast would say partly cloudy or mostly cloudy, which to me sounded like dreary and gross. So anyway, it's 50 degrees. It's supposed to get up to almost 60. So I need to wash my car and my truck. If nothing else, I'm going to wash my car because tonight the temperatures are going to do this. So right now it's Saturday. So the temperatures are doing this tonight. And it's funny because I have friends in Kentucky and one of them was telling me how bad the weather was because she's been running back and forth to the hospital to see her husband. And I thought, it's really not that far from here. And here, the weather's been like springtime. I mean, 50s and 60s for several days. And we know it's going to get bitterly cold. But all next week is supposed to be in the 60s. Once the bitter cold moves, it's going to be tonight. Okay, so Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night, I think still a little bit cold Monday night. And then it's going to warm back up to 50s and 60s. I think mostly 60s next week. This is what I like about the South because it doesn't stay, even though we're in Tennessee, but we're in the southern part of Tennessee, so it doesn't stay cold here. Usually being the key word there, we'll usually only have, if we're going to have bitter cold, if we're lucky, it's only maybe 2 weeks. I think last year it was really terrible for 2 to 3 weeks, and we got a break in between. It was maybe a week and a half, and then another week and a half, and we had to run our faucets the entire time. It was that cold. It was that cold that we had to run our faucets, but old house, that's just the way it goes. All right, I'm going to talk to you about my dermatology visit, but let me blow through a few things first, just something I've noticed. So I buy these used to be I think these used to be $4.50 at Aldi, and this looks wonky, but anyway, I don't think it's sitting right. But anyway, this is the holiday cranberry. It's 14 ounces. So now they're around $5. I think they're $4.99 or something like that. So basically $5 for these for 14 ounces. This smells divine. I have another one called First Snow. It smells so good. So I haven't started burning the First Snow yet. In the meantime, somebody gave me a Bath and Body Works candle, and I was like, oh, that's going to be great. It's called Bright Christmas Morning. Let's see, does it say how many ounces? If I turn it upside down, does it say? It says ripe red berries, blood orange, crisp apple. I didn't even know that's what it was. Okay, it's 14.5 ounces, so 0.5 ounces more than that. Now, I'm hoping this lady got this on sale. The price tag is $27.95. I feel sure because she gave one to me and one to, I'm the helper, and she gave one to the teacher. The teacher is 17, or I think she's 18. It's funny. The teacher's 18 and I'm the helper. That's usually the opposite of that. But anyway, I wouldn't even have noticed the price, but my friend burns these herself, and she said, these candles are $30 candles. And I was like, well, it's Bath and Body Works. They have sales constantly. I would hope most people don't pay the full price. When I go in there, I don't pay full price for anything. So they always have like buy 4 and get this price, buy 5 and get this price. So of course you may not need 5 candles, but you can always stick them in a closet. So anyway, what I was going to tell you was, I am noticing this smells very nice. I'm glad she gave it to me because I almost had this one burned down. So I'm ready to start a new one. So I'm glad she gave it to me. It smells very nice, but I would not pay this price for this because, so I'm burning it in my kitchen. The kitchen's not that big, although our ceilings are high. That ceiling is not that high, but in the next room, in the den, the ceilings are very high. I'm actually smelling this one better in the den than I am this one. Not even kidding. Now, I do believe they say this one is soy wax blend candle. And I know people, let's see, does it say what the blend, or if it's yeah, this is probably just as much junk as you can possibly throw into a candle. But on the other hand, I really think that they're saying most candles are dangerous now. So as far as the scented candles, I still like a scented candle. I know they're supposed to be terrible for us. The good news is Spencer and I don't have asthma. We have allergy issues, but we don't have asthma. So I always try to ask him, is this candle bothering you? Because he's got actual allergies. Mine don't show up. I have allergies, they just don't show up on any test anywhere. So it's called non-allergenic rhinitis, and there's really no good way to treat it. That's the best thing you could ever have is non-allergenic rhinitis, which they tell you you're not allergic to anything, even though you know that you're having a reaction to everything around you. It's just fantastic. But it just doesn't show up on their little test. So that's that. Now, I've been trying to use up stuff in my bathroom, and I told y'all I was going to pull this. I didn't have a whole bottle of this. It's the peony and peppercorn. This is from Dollar Tree. It's the Delta Home brand. I finished it. I just finished it today, and I pulled my Christmas one out. So we're in the middle of the month, and I finally pulled my cinnamon and clove out. And this was from, I don't even think I bought this last year. I might have bought it 2 years ago. So, I need to use it. In other words, that I need to get to it and use these soaps up. So I'm trying to use my soaps up and also my facial cleansers and all my facial things because I bought too many. My mother had a lot, and so this is one that my mother had. It's called collagen, retinol, and hyaluronic acid. And you can see I've been using this just about every day. You can see it's almost gone. There's just a little bit up there in the corners. So I've almost run through this one. I'm almost finished with the strawberry one from, it smells so good, the strawberry one from Dollar Tree. You can see just about done with this. This was $1.25, and it's strawberry hyaluronic acid. So more of that wonderful H acid that I can't pronounce. So not much left in that. I've been trying to use this every day, once or twice. And then this is the essentially ageless, and it's the Be Pure, and it's the day one. I have a lot more of the night cream. I'm using both of them. I'm using them up, but the night cream, this is a glass jar, which is really nice. Everybody's like, oh, it's so nice, it's in a glass jar. Yes, I dropped it and broke it. So my first one I dropped and broke, and then it was a while before I found one to replace it with, and then I finally replaced it. So I still have half of that left, but that one is almost empty. So I've got 3 that are almost empty now, and I'm using them very faithfully. I think I told y'all I bought some more of this lotion because I really like it. It's called Creamy Cashmere. It's Pro Silk brand. I'm really liking this one, so I went back and bought several more. I saw some more yesterday, and I was like, should I buy more? And I stopped myself because I think I have enough at this point, but it smells so good, and it almost smells like cake icing to me. I don't know what Creamy Cashmere was supposed to smell like, but it really does feel good, and almost smells like cake icing. And the smell dissipates pretty quickly. So I feel like if you have issues with scents, it might bother you at the beginning, and maybe, if you have issues with scents, don't get it probably. But if you have I kind of have a minor issue with scents. If it clings to me forever, sometimes I have issues, and it just kind of depends on what it is. Vanilla usually burns my eyes. So we got a real Christmas tree for the first time ever. We used to have real trees when I was a kid, but we just got them in our woods, so they never had that perfect look. So we bought a tree. I asked Spencer to go buy me one. He FaceTimed me from the place because he's like, I'm not going to be able to pick this out without you. I'm like, Spencer, just pick out a tree. I don't care. I just want a real tree in my kitchen. I was going to put it in the den. I decided I'm going to be in the kitchen a lot, so I decided to put it in the kitchen. Sunshine will chew the plastic tree, and she won't leave it alone, or the fake, whatever the fake is made of. And I'm afraid she's going to eat something and it's going to kill her. Or we're going to have, thousands in a vet bill. It's cheaper to pay. It was around with tax. I think it was $125. I know that's a lot. It's pretty tall. I think it's at least 6 feet tall. It's taller than I am for sure. And even just, putting my arm up, I was having a hard time reaching toward the top there. But he picked it up for me, and I think they were tagged wrong, so we thought it was 140. So then we were very happy to find out. He asked somebody, he said, do y'all have any 6-foot trees? And he said, that one's tagged wrong. That one is 6 feet. So which meant it was 109 plus tax. So I said, that's it, get that, just get that, it looks fine. So it's really pretty. In fact, to me, it doesn't even look real. It smells pretty good. It's not real strong. I don't really smell it that much. I wish I smelled it a little bit more. However, it's making my eyes burn. So Spencer says it's not bothering him any. He's the one with the allergies, remember? It's making my eyes burn, but I'm taking more allergy meds than I normally would, and it's really not. It's not bothering me enough that I care that I'm having a little bit of the eye burning. It's not it's not real serious. And I have some eye drops. I just haven't, I need to try them. I just haven't tried them yet. So that's going really well. I wish I could have filmed in there, but Spencer's home. So he would have been, he's changing oil and stuff. So he would have been in and out making noise. So I didn't want to film it in front of that tree, but the tree is beautiful. And really, I just don't even think it looks real. It's just so perfect. It's just a perfect, perfect tree. So I'm real happy with that. And like I said, that's cheaper than thousands in vet bills because your cat ingested part of a tree, or just with us, I just never could put a tree in there. So I have a tree in here, but we're not in here that much. We're in there. So she can't get to this tree. So that's the whole thing. So my big, huge tree is in this area of the house, and Mila's in here, and Mila never bothers anything. Okay, let's talk about my dermatology visits. I think I told you that I told my sister, because she goes to a doctor named Petrangelo, and I said, you know, I need to do this all over body check, but I'm just not wanting any more men looking at me. I don't know what it is with me. Well, one thing that happened, Spencer went to him, and Spencer said, oh, it was no big deal. You wear your underwear. You're a man, Spencer. It's no big deal to you. You wear your underwear, which would be the bottom part, right? I said, Spencer, I would want this part covered too. I can't have this part covered for an all-over body check because there's things up here that need to be looked at, okay? So he said, you just stand there. Just stand there. So I was nervous enough seeing the woman, because to me, standing in front of just standing there like that is just weird to me. That's not how it went at all. I don't know how his check actually went, and I didn't ask my sister how hers went. But when I said, I just don't want men looking at me anymore. I'm just done with that. I'm done with all that. She goes, just see the nurse practitioner. So I said, okay, that's a great idea. I'll do that if you think that's good enough. I actually like to see doctors, although the nurse practitioners at my ENT office, I like them better. So, you know, it just depends. A lot of times I prefer a doctor because they've had many more years of schooling. Nothing against nurse practitioners, but you get a nursing degree and then it's like 2 more years. It's not that much schooling. Now, the ones at the ENT's office they've worked in emergency rooms and all kinds of stuff. So they worked for years and years and years. This isn't just like 2 years and they've gotten out and they've just started. So they've been working in all types of doctoring situations for many, many years. So they're both older. They're at least my age. I think both of them are a little bit older than me. So they've been doing this a long time. But just like a nurse practitioner right out of school, 2 extra years, that makes me a little bit nervous, especially if we're doing like a cancer check, which is what I was there for. Also, I want to talk to them about what is going on with my head. She says there's nothing wrong with my scalp at all. I told her I really thought I had a fungus, and I was using Nizoral, which is one of the things that you use for a fungus. She suggested a different shampoo. And then mostly what she was seeing, I have white stuff all over my hair. Mostly what she was seeing was further down here. It's really hard to see. It's more noticeable when you've just washed your hair. So what I did was I should have probably washed it that morning, but I washed it the night before. And so when you wash it right here, I notice a lot of white stuff right here. Well, she was not seeing that, and she did look very thoroughly. She was more seeing it out here, so she felt like it was growing out and that maybe the Nizoral was fixing it. And then she literally said, another month, I think this will be gone. And I was like, in my head, I was like, is it going to be gone in another month? And she doesn't even know what it is. I don't know if I need to go see somebody. She's given me prescription shampoo, and if this does nothing, I'm going to have to find a dermatologist who's worked for like 40 years to see if they can figure it out. So I think I told y'all I Googled just, white stuff on hair, not dandruff. And it came up this picture and it looked just like it. And then when I made the mistake of telling her, I Googled, and I told her what I Googled. And I said, it came up tropical areas. She goes, well, that's not here. I know that. So I was like, okay. So anyway, when she said, oh, it's just down here, it's just going to grow. It's another month, it's going to grow out. I was like, so that's when I said, I know you're probably not seeing it right here, but when I wash my hair, it is all over right here. In other words, it's not just down here growing out. This isn't growing out. It's continuing whatever it is. And I understand there's nothing wrong with my scalp. Frankly, she said, well, maybe the Nazorals cleared up your scalp. I don't think my scalp was ever the problem. This stuff is clinging to my hair. Whatever it is, it's clinging to my hair. Now, she doesn't think it's anything dangerous. It's not affecting my scalp. It was in that I was having more itching. So the Nizoral took care of the itching. In fact, I noticed that right away. And I wasn't like, it wasn't like that. It was just an annoyance. I would call it a minor annoyance. But I know it was enough that I noticed right away. When I started the Nizoral, I would say the first or the second treatment, no more itching. And I was like, well, there's definitely something going on besides just this white stuff. But I don't think, she said normally with that we would see redness and I don't even know, maybe scabbing. But see, I wasn't like, I was never, I wasn't doing that. I might go, like that or like that occasionally. But I wasn't scratching my head. So that it's not like there was an open sore or it wasn't inflamed enough that it would be red. So the hairdressers never mentioned a word to me about redness or your scalp this or your scalp that. It was all just, there's this stuff on your hair. And the second one, when I started going to the new one, she never said anything about it. And I mentioned it to her and she said, I do see something. She said, I thought it was just buildup. And I said, I had hoped that as well. And so I tried a clarifying shampoo. And somebody said to me, that's expensive. Well, probably. I just used Suave, and it did seem to, I still think it stripped everything off, and what's left is whatever this white stuff is. So basically, I got nowhere with that, except that when I said it's right here, it is not just here. It is, I don't know what you're seeing, but it's right here. When I'm washing my hair, it is right here. At that point, she said, well, did you want to try this shampoo? And I'm like, yes, I'd like to try that shampoo. And I told her that my hair was falling out. So I read of course, I don't know why. Nothing can ever just be a prescription that you go pick up at the Walmart. Why can nothing be like that? No, it's got to be compounded. The other thing is, why don't y'all ever use a local pharmacy? We have local compounding pharmacies right here. Memphis has probably one of the best ones. I drive into Memphis every 2 weeks to work, and I have something I pick up there once a month that I only want it compounded at that pharmacy because they're so good. I get my hormones done at a different compounding pharmacy. The one that's a lot closer, it's in Collierville, which is where we do everything. The bulk of everything that we do is in Collierville. Why do I have to do a mail order? So she's like, no, it's so easy. It's just mail order. And I'm like, you know what would be easy is if I could go pick it up in Collierville in like 2 days. So they've shipped it to me. So I don't have it yet. I didn't complain about that, but I wanted to. Why in the world, when you've got 5, 6, 7, 8 compounding pharmacies around here, why can't we just utilize them? Anyway, that's a whole nother topic for another day, but I looked at because when they sent me a text about, signing up to, of course, paying for this $55 shampoo, whatever. If it'll stop my hair loss, I'm in, you know what I'm saying? So I looked at the ingredients, and one of them said it would help stop hair loss from autoimmune conditions. And I thought, well, I have autoimmune disease. That could be why my hair's falling out. I'm thinking it's stress or hormones. If this shampoo stops it, I think we're going to know it's not just stress and hormones. And I mean, I'm taking HRT. It's like, wouldn't the HRT be fixing it if it's a hormonal problem? Somebody else mentioned to me it's your thyroid. It could be, or she said it could be your thyroid. I said, well, I haven't had it tested since March. I'm going back. I'll have it tested again, but I don't think it's my thyroid. My thyroid's been tested every year, sometimes twice a year, and nothing has ever shown up anywhere. So I don't think that's it. Now Spencer's on thyroid medicine, but I am not. So, okay, now I really liked her. I want to start this by saying I really, really, really liked her, but she said 2 things to me that were weird. So the first she looked with 2 different lights because the second time she had I think a stronger light that she wanted to look at it with, so that the girl had to go get it. So the first light, she's like, well, it's not lice. I've had this for a year, at least. The hairdresser mentioned this to me about this time last year. Do you not think if I had freaking lice, I would not know by now? Also, why would I have lice? Now, I do work with children. I feel like lice is more of a school type thing you pick up at a school, right? I do work with children. It's a small group. It's not like I'm working with thousands of children. I'm sure it would only take one child, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not around thousands of children. We're talking 20 kids a week I'm around. At no time did I think I had lice. Then she got the second light because the first light wasn't showing up what the problem was. Neither did the second light, by the way. She said, I'm going to have to go consult some textbooks. I was like, you go, girl, you go. That did not help her either when she consulted her books. I really wish she'd brought the doctor in because he was there. I saw him in the hallway. I really wish she'd brought him in. Anyway, she got the second light and she said, well, it's not bugs. Y'all, I feel like if I had bugs in my hair, it wouldn't take me no year to figure this out, okay? The only reason because the first hairdresser mentioned it a year ago, I really didn't pay much attention to what she said. And finally, I saw all this white stuff all over my hair after I washed it, and I was like, because it seems like washing it makes it plump up, and it's really white and really noticeable, but the rest of the time it's small and you don't notice it that much, especially after using the Nizoral. But pre the Nizoral, I could see stuff all over my hair. I could just everywhere. It was up here, it was all levels. And I was like, but at no time did I think I had bugs in my hair. And I feel like a year of bugs, I feel like you'd have scratched yourself bald at that point. I mean, those two sentences, just weird. It's just weird. Now, I liked her, so I'm just overlooking. I don't understand those two sentences. I really don't. But anyway, overlooking that, the full body check, I want to tell you, I was not standing up with nothing on, okay? The girl was in there talking to me before the nurse practitioner came in, and she handed me the gown, pretty long. She said, open it down the back, which is the opposite. I think if you're having the breast exam and the gynecological, it's open this way. But she said, open down the back, and then here's a sheet to cover. I have a place kind of like right here on my boob. So, okay, I don't have any cancer. There was no pre-cancer. There was no thought of cancer. There was nothing. She was not concerned about anything on my body at all. I am going back in a year for, because once you start, you do a yearly check, which I'm fine with, because this was so, I don't know what a good word is. It was very respectful of me. And she probably doesn't want me just like taking it all off. Like she's got to look at me. She probably doesn't want everything off either, right? She probably wants it to be comfortable for everybody. So she zapped several things. I have a genetic thing. My mom had a real bad case. I cannot remember what this is called, but it was all over her back. It was on her. It was just like all the way up, all the way down, on her chest as well. It was really bad. And she got this stuff burned off, or frozen off, probably also burned years ago, but frozen off for years. It really never cut down on her problem. And then my sister has the same thing. Unfortunately, we both, it would have been nice if it had skipped one of us, but it did not skip either one of us. We both have it. But so I don't know how bad Dawn's is, because she's like me. She stays like covered up to here. We're not really uncovering type people, especially not with this on our back. I'm not going to be uncovering my back due to that. And so I don't know. I know my sister has it, but I don't know how bad she has it. But mine is more on this side, which is interesting. And then it's in the middle, and then on this side, but not as much on this side. It's kind of weird. I'm not really sure. But anyway, I have one on my boob. But anyway, she said, all this is benign. She said the skin tags are benign. They're related to this, whatever she called it, which I can never remember. I don't know why I can't remember the word, but I just cannot. But I mean, my sister could tell me, but I can't remember what it's called. But she said, these are always benign. They never turn to cancer. You never have to worry about these. And then I thought the one on my boob was a mole. Nope, same thing. So apparently it must have been just, I know I have on my face, I have some freckle looking things, but I don't have any thing that's actually sticking up on my face. So nothing like a actual mole, and this stuff, thank goodness, is not on my face. And the skin tags are, I have all of that right there. I wish she had zapped this. I think I may, what she said was if she zapped a whole bunch of places, that she said, I'm going to zap the bigger ones with the frozen stuff. And she also made it, she didn't make a huge big deal about it, what's going to hurt, but she's like, this is going to sting. I mean, a little. It didn't bother me at all. She did a lot of different places. I said, you can do them all. And she says, oh no, you would hate me. No, girl, no, I'd like them all gone. You could do everything. It did not bother me at all. And Spencer said the same thing. He said, the doctor said the same thing to him. It was like, it's going to hurt. And he's like, it didn't hurt. So it does sting a little, but it's nothing. It's not a big deal. But she did say if these don't, they're supposed to drop off, I think she said within 10 days. She said if they don't and you want to come in and get them cut off, happy to do it. I'll give you a lidocaine shot. No, I'm not a big shot person. Not because I really mind the needle. I just don't know what all's in the shot, and I don't like stuff injected in me. So I'm hoping like they're supposed to. I hope they just come off. But she kind of made it sound like that they should, but they don't always. So we'll see. But I'm going to go ahead and get mine removed if they do not come off. So, because they're unsightly. I don't like them. So if she's willing to do that, I'm willing to let her. And okay, I had another dermatologist, and she said something like, "Oh, I can remove all these except that you'd have to pay for it. The insurance doesn't pay." The whole reason I switched to this doctor, well, first of all, I can't find that other doctor. I can't remember her name. She was actually a doctor. She wasn't a nurse practitioner. She was also very young. But my sister said, Dr. Petrangelo says the insurance will pay if they're bothering you. This lady didn't even ask me if they were bothering me. She was just like, we'll get the bigger ones. They itch sometimes, and they hurt sometimes, and they're rough, and so my clothes get snagged on them. So I told her, I said, well, they are annoying. I mean, they do hurt, they do itch, and they do snag on my clothes if I feel like that's good enough. She never asked me. She never asked me a word. And I paid $10. I thought my copay would be $20, but it's so weird. Everywhere you go, it's something different. But they only charged me $10, which I'm feeling like I'm going to have to pay more, but we'll see. Usually specialists is $20, but then they act like if it's a nurse practitioner, it's cheaper. But then we've all ended up having to pay more, even though we saw a nurse practitioner. So I don't think 10 is it. But anyway, and who knows? I might have to pay for some of the zapping she did. I don't care. I hope it's all covered, but I really don't care. I just want it gone. I was really glad that I didn't even ask her to remove anything. She was just like, we're going to remove these, or we're going to, freeze these and see what happens. I didn't know that I should ask or not ask or what. So anyway, she just took that, she just like, we're just going to do this. So that was fine because I wanted it done. So, but I set up the check, and I didn't know what they would do past just check it, just the body check. But anyway, she just uncovered areas just a little at a time. And then the only time I stood up, at the very end, and I still had the gown was still on, and I was still holding that little sheet thing. She said, I just need to look at the back of your legs. So I felt very covered the whole time. And when she was, I think I already said this, when she was zapping this, she just had me hold my arm up, and she zapped it right through the, I think it had an armhole that was hanging down, and she was able to just see through there, and she just zapped it through there. She didn't just like uncover everything to zap it. So, anyway, I thought the whole thing was very comfortable. I was very stressed, out. When Spencer said he was just standing there, I was like, what? And maybe it's because he's a guy and that the doctor was a guy. I don't know. But I probably should have asked my sister how it's actually done. Because now Spencer's saying, well, I don't remember. Okay, well, you told me you were just standing there, which to me was weird and not something I wanted to participate in. You know what I mean? So anyway, I think that's everything about the visit I wanted to talk about. So anyway, and you could always, if you need to make an appointment to do this, you could always call and ask how they do it. Are you covered with do you have a little gown or something on so you don't feel so, I don't know. I just know I don't like just being all out here. And I mean, even a mammogram, you're covered, and then of course you're kind of covered, and then everything's falling off. You're not that well covered in a mammogram, but I don't really have a problem with that. It's just because that's just one area of your body. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's it for me. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.